off top. This man is smiling in my face. It's fine. I don't care about nothing. I'm gonna get my off top in, then you can get your jokes in, okay? Can you keep a straight face long enough for me to say off top? Chicago's nickname as the Windy City is not because of the wind coming off of the lake. It is because their politicians are full of hot air, and so are some of their sports voices. Play the music.
This is the Domonique Foxworth Show.
Welcome to the Domonique Foxworth Show. That cackle in the background is Domonique Foxworth Show Hall of Famer, Jason Goff. And we are joined as usual by the vanilla snack. Ain't nobody been trying to get at the snack lately. What happened? The tweets died down. They don't think you're cute no more. They found out about them shoes. What happened?
No, you killed it. You killed it. You raised expectations too high.
Oh gosh. All right, Jason.
Are you just trying to breeze past the fact that you are dressed like Lucky the Leprechaun right now?
Tag me in. Please.
Go for it,
Oh,
Jason.
Lord. By the way, hey, cuffing season is officially, beginning, I guess. So I see you laying low, CK. I see you. But there are a lot of reasons why I am here today. Is because of my love, not only for the show, but for you two gentlemen. Obviously, Domonique, you know the vibes. Listen, as a person who owns a green suit, okay? Right? This is in the repertoire, so I'm not mad at it at all. But boy, hey, it is now Dom Magic Wand from here on out. Okay? All right?
Oh my
Green
God.
is for the money, gold is for the honey. You looking like you got a Gucci Cadillac parked outside, and I love the layering. I love the winter. What is that? Ooh, is that money green on the shirt? Yo, shout out to Ash, shout out to the family. Whoever dressed you today, I don't know if you have a quinceañera that you have to chaperone or whatever's going on, but you look good, man.
I'm not ashamed. So first of all, Charlie might be too young to know about was it Pimps Up Hoes Down with the
American
HBO,
Pimp, whatever you want to.
The HBO documentary where it was gold for the money, or and
green is for the money, gold is for the honey. Bishop Don Magic Wand.
I'm half standing up because I'm not ashamed that this is the full suit. It's not just a sport coat.
Oh, I know that's not just a blazer. You don't just sell a piece like that with the one piece. You have to get the pants.
For the podcast audience, Domonique just gave 2 pelvic thrust pops directly into the microphone.
That's spoken by a man who don't know what a real pop looked like. That wasn't a pop.
That wasn't a pop.
I got more
crusty.
My power clean was 355, boy. If you want to see a pop, you want to see a pop. I give you a pop, Charlie.
Don't worry. I heard you and Bo talking about athletic butts. You know what I mean? So I know where your power center is. Yeah. Trust me, I know.
Do you who are you picking for the Kentucky Derby, Domonique?
I don't know.
This is gonna be great. This is gonna be great.
Oh! It took a second to land. My man. I thought
that's when Charlie just rolled a grenade in the room and just closed the door.
I thought that the question was the setup for the joke. And then I just saw myself in the reflection of this record. It was like, oh, yeah.
Sir,
I do look like I frequent some mint juleps. I'm turned off a mint julep right now.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Do you think you could walk me to my Enterprise rent-a-car?
That's it?
See? No, I'm coming up with, you know what? I want the audience to know too, by the way. Dom don't play fair because he hit me up before the show and was like, just want to let you know something aggressive is happening on this show today. And I was like, nah, don't 8 Mile this thing. Don't try to get the jokes off before we get here. No, sir.
Gosh.
Don't be rabbit this thing. You look good though, man. You look good.
Mm-hmm. For the people that are here for maybe week 1 of the most popular thing in all of American culture, football. If you're here for that analysis, it's coming. I promise you. But one thing I'm not gonna do is stand in the way of no jokes, because trust me, Charlie, when you come here and when Jason show up with that shirt or the hat, I want an ISO. clear out. I 1-4 high, and
1-4
I am going to work. So by all means, proceed, Charlie. Whenever you're ready to throw to some football, I'm ready. If you got more jokes, have at it.
Man.
I just want to say that this is the man who has been trying to dress me, another adult man, and take me on a shopping spree for a year and a half, and he showed up like he just won the Masters.
He does look like, you know what that is? That's that good child support court seat right there, boy. That's when you show up in your finest, but you also are ready for happy hour afterwards, right? Like you look good.
One of my favorite jokes that I used to run into the ground. I think I might have told Charlie this before, but when we go on road trips, we would have to dress up. I don't know that they make the players do that anymore in the league, but you have to dress up on a road trip. And everyone would go to the hotel and change and then go get something to eat with like your 3 or 4 closest friends. And I would do the same thing, but I wouldn't change. And then I would come to the front desk and say that I was my teammate's lawyer because they were having some sweats. And we having an acquittal party. Give me your best room in the restaurant because we have it. And I would laugh my off at that joke every time. And always, depending on the city, some people thought it was funny and some people thought it was real.
Yeah. I mean, when you dress to impress the way you are, man, you can get any room in any hotel in America, any booth in any restaurant in America. That right there, I wouldn't be surprised if that was actually made of real money. You know what I mean? That thing right there, boy, that's dollar bill green.
It's ground up $2 bills. I just got ground up only $2 bills.
Yeah, I got a taste of some Apple Crown Royal right now. I tell you the truth. I got to be honest with you. Haven't had that since 2003, but I got a taste for it right now.
I feel very confident that the 3 of us will be having an acquittal party in New Orleans at the Super Bowl next year. This is now on the table somewhere.
I cannot wait. And Charlie, wear sweats because we're really gonna confuse them.
Yeah, I was about to say we're really.
Make sure you bring Lil Wayne too, Charlie, because that's the only way we're gonna get into New Orleans with all this halftime show nonsense that's going on right now.
My good friend Wayne.
Let's
talk some football.
Right? Yeah, let's get into it.
That too.
So we're gonna get to some NFC North stuff. We obviously have Jason Goff here, NFC North expert, super fan, tortured Bears.
There you go.
But let's start with the Monday night game because you'll be listening to this on Wednesday. But it was 2 of the most talked about teams of the offseason in the Jets and the 49ers. I want to start with the Jets side of it first because to me it's a little bit more interesting. Like I along with many, got sort of enchanted by how well their offseason seemed to be going and that they, were able to win 7 games with Zach Wilson and Trevor Siemian last year. And now even if you had a sort of degraded version of Aaron Rodgers, you should be significantly better. Week 1, don't want to totally overreact, but they look like dog. And if you're a Jets fan, would you be more concerned by their defense, which was hyped up to be maybe the best unit in football, or their offense from this Week 1 game?
Yeah, the problem with this Jets conversation is it's all based on the idea that their defense was going to be the thing that we didn't have to worry about. We now clearly have to worry about the defense. And maybe it's that the defense isn't good enough or isn't as good as it's been. Or maybe it's that Kyle Shanahan pulled their pants down. And I think that was my biggest takeaway is one team has quite possibly the best offensive mind in football. But at least, it don't even have to be the best. Has a above average offensive mind, and the other team is expecting to win off of talent. And I think the Jets are gonna win a lot of games this year because they're just more talented than the teams that they play against. But when they get to them last 3 or 4 games, the playoff ones against the coaches who are ready to prepared and have not only have a punch but got a counter punch, and that have been in these moments before. And those players, that's what I learned from the Monday night game. That's what I learned about this team is they aren't ready for that. And that's scary because that's the only reason why they're together. They didn't bring Aaron Rodgers in to make the playoffs. You bring him in to win the Super Bowl.
The thing that I noticed the most, and I think throughout week one, with the points being down, touchdowns being down, passing yard, we had 300-yard passers all
Yeah.
week one, the lowest amount of touchdowns in the last 10 years in the week one. With less preseason games and practices not being what they used to be back in the good old days, football is still a sport that has to be practiced, and calluses have to be built up, and especially when we talk about offensive lines, I don't care how many names you throw on an offensive line. Them dudes got to play together. I remember covering practices and training camps back in the day in Bourbonnais, and Olin Kreutz would have he, as a center, walk out with the other four linemen in unison in the way that they were lined up out the cafeteria. Just on some hey, we got to know where each other's at. I got to know where your weaknesses are, especially if you drop a biscuit. I got to know if you can't go to your right. Little things like that. Well, your leader didn't, he missed mandatory minicamp. He didn't play it all in the preseason, said it ain't real football. So if I'm the young cats, I'm like, oh, well, number 8 said we ain't really got to go hard. I ain't got to go hard. We talented as hell. Next thing you know, you get out there, saucing there. You're looking forward to seeing one of the best secondaries in football do their thing. And the 49ers like, hey, we really ain't going to use this whole forward pass thing. We're going to run your into the ground. So a tougher football team came out and slapped around a team that's being led by a guy who was wavering if he wanted to do this year. So I didn't expect what I saw. 8 straight scoring drives is nuts. I didn't expect that, but I didn't, we've really been led astray by guys getting old as gracefully as they have in the NBA and the NFL. You're not supposed to really come back from these widowmaker injuries and beat a dude. And Aaron Rodgers, how many passes did he throw past 10, 12 yards in terms of air yards? It looked a little janky. It looked like their 4th or 5th preseason game instead of the first regular season game.
So worth noting, it's been over 1,000 days since Aaron Rodgers has had a 300-yard game.
Crazy.
That's a long time. No, I mean, I'm totally with you, Jason. Peyton pointed that out. Peyton Manning pointed that out on the Manning cast about Brandon Ayuk having a drop, how he missed so much of camp, but focusing on the Jet side of it more, Kevin Durant fooled us. He fooled us to make it think it was possible to come back from Achilles injury and look the same. And that's not to say that Rodgers is going to be a bad player all year. It's just, he was saying he was going to come back last December.
That was dumb.
Yeah, but we are 10 months after that, and he doesn't look physically ready. He still looks slightly hobbled and a diminished version of someone. When you think of Aaron Rodgers, it's the release, the ball placement, the accuracy, the arm strength. But he's always had incredible movement around the pocket and things like that. And it's just slightly different now as he's an older player. I'm much more concerned about the Jets offense than their defense. Yeah. Partially because, the defense got eviscerated by a more prepared Niners team. But this is one of the things that the Jets have dealt with for years, which is you have a negative game script. They're playing from behind. And Domonique knows this. How much harder is football when you're constantly playing from behind? There had to be an here we go again when that Jets defense was out there for the umpteenth straight possession to close that game.
But you know how you get off the field? By getting off the field. So I'm with you. The offense didn't give them the support. I'm with you. That should have been there. But also get your ass off the field, get a stop. And I think that all this stuff is true. I can't disagree with anything you said. The thing I would say about Aaron Rodgers is he looked as good as I thought he needed to look. So he didn't look like Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins looked like he ain't quite fully healed yet. That's a different story. Yeah, so that's a different story. Aaron Rodgers looked like an older man playing football, but he still had the arm strength. He still had the zip. He still had the good decision-making. And I think that it sounds like I'm taking the blame off of Aaron Rodgers, but in a situation when you are the centerpiece of all the decisions that this team have made, including the offensive coordinator and including your desire to keep things the way that you want them, makes for a less sophisticated offense, it sets you up in a situation where they lose on first down, lose on second down, then it's third and long, and he's trying to outthrow the defense. That's going to work a good number of times because you're Aaron Rodgers, but it ain't going to work enough times when you play good teams. And that's what we saw yesterday. He needs some plays off that are schemed up to be open. The defense, I think I'm a little less hard on the defense because they have built up a little bit more credibility with me than the offensive side of the ball. But they still, the premise of this is based on them being great they're going to have to be at least good, because what they play like yesterday, you need MVP Aaron Rodgers to win going forward. And he's gone, guys.
So the thing that I also, and I hate to be this guy, but my favorite team was quarterbacked by a guy who his teammates later came out and was like, yo, that dude really doesn't care as much as y'all think he should. And that was Jay Cutler.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Rodgers from Series 1, from Series 1, like Aaron Rodgers for the last few years pretty much has given off this, hey, if we win, it's because of me. And if we lose, it's because of y'all. And when Alan Lazard drops that first ball, when Breece Hall fumbles, and it's like the roll of the eyes, like there, you can speak to this more than anybody can, Domonique. Like, you got to keep a sideline together. You got to keep an offensive unit together in the worst times. Like I saw Will Levis running around trying to convince people that he wasn't bad on the sideline, right? Like, we can still do this, guys. It's like, fam, there's 000 on the clock. We can't do this and can't do this with you. In Aaron's case, it seemed like he was every time there was a bad play, because when they football go put that camera on the stars, right? Close-ups, like this is a reality show and a football game at the same time. And every time Aaron gave exactly what you expected, where it was like, can't put the ball anywhere else. So it seemed like one of those things where it's like, you know what, the floodgates open. Next thing you know, the defense is letting go every sieve, every rush lane, no gap containment. It just had a nasty feel to it. And essentially, this is his first real go at it with the Jets, right? Like, 4 plays last year, you're a ghost when you're hurt. So, they still don't really know how to move around a guy that they've been around for 2 years, I think.
And he hasn't been there for anything difficult. And that's when you find out. Yeah, that's when you find out what time. And so I assume that he's had time to recover, and he's in the locker room saying and doing all the right things because he knows the right things to say and do. But you spend enough time around guys, you can't fake it at a certain point. And you have to hold people accountable, but that starts with you. And I think even if he doesn't believe it's his fault, he has to start with, like, this is what I'm doing. And to the point that you were making, is an example set by leadership. And we saw like Tom Brady and these other guys, and Peyton Manning, and guys who've gone to different teams and won championships. All we hear about is their type of leadership and the amount of effort they put in. And we heard a lot about Aaron Rodgers' leadership when he came back last year, but now it's actually being tested, and we're going to see how he responds to that, and if he can help develop this offense into something that takes pressure off the rest of the team.
I got to ask you, Domonique.
Uh-oh.
How, I'm sure Greeny was out there self-flagellating being a sad Jet fan on air, but when you looked in his eyes, how dead inside was he knowing that this was the Jets team he's going to have to root for all year?
Yeah, I mean, as you know, Jets fans kind of know they are prepared for the worst, and Greeny was very prepared for the worst, and he was yelling "fire everybody" Monday morning, and was pretty genuine. And Greeny is a seasoned professional. I think that he has a little bit of performance in him with some of the things that he talks about and he says, which is fine for the business. However, it don't feel fake when it comes to the Jets. It feels real. It is real pain in those eyes, because they have not done anything right in a long time, and this is the best chance that they've had. And when they have done things right, it's a surprise. It was the Rex Ryan surprises. Those were shocks. And so he's expecting it all fall apart again.
Couple Boomer Esiason years in there scattered in, you know what I mean?
Vinny Testaverde.
I want him to start taping social clips at his house like Skip Bayless did, where he stomps over to his electric trash can and throws his Aaron Rodgers jersey into the bin and has it slowly closed down, and just does it week after week after week.
Did y'all change out the jersey? I saw people saying that the jersey got changed from Aaron Rodgers to Brock Purdy in the background behind Damian Woody.
It happened. It wasn't even Greeny's idea. I think Greeny is still in on Aaron Rodgers. That's the funny thing, is they all love Aaron Rodgers. They refuse to come down on Aaron Rodgers, but it's everybody else's fault except for Aaron's fault. But we'll see.
Hey, I know what Willie Mays on the Mets look like. You know what I mean? I know it. Yeah, just because you got that name don't mean. Hey, I got a chance to cover Steven Jackson as an Atlanta Falcon. Okay, so it's just because that name is there don't mean that game travels.
Yeah.
Dude, he was so good. Totally underrated. We could just
Steven
name
Jackson?
early 2000s running backs forever.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a monster.
One of the few guys that, like, contrary to what you may think based on my size, like, I was a pretty good tackler. I didn't have any issues even with bigger backs. That's one guy where I threw my arm into his legs. Because, I mean, I'm a low tackler. Normally throw my whole body. He sidestepped, so I threw my arm into his legs. Felt like a lawnmower. Felt like I threw my hand into a lawnmower. I swear. Felt like it. I got up and was just excited. He kept running, but I was just excited that my arm was still there.
You still had your arm?
Yeah,
I'm surprised you got your shoulder.
Oh, Lord. Good to see you here. Wasn't expecting you to make it through that. Oh, there's a big dude, man.
Nah. Big dude, and also wearing number 39. He made you know that he was fullback sized.
You know, greatest 39 of all time, maybe, right?
Has to be.
Yeah. Undrafted free agent ass number.
It's unbelievable for a first rounder as a running back.
Great player.
Should we talk 49er side of this? Because there was a lot of like grumblings heading into this season with the Ayuk stuff, the Trent stuff, that they were prioritizing Purdy, and the team had so much scar tissue from the Super Bowl last year. And it was hard not to buy into some of that because we had actual reports from beat reporters who are there every day being like, Purdy's throwing a lot of interceptions in training camp. He's not managing the game. He's being way too aggressive. They were kind of just awesome last night. They could have scored even more than they did. I know they had 6 field goals. They could have poured in the touchdowns. But did they convince you after watching that game that they're going to sort of just pick up where they left off last season?
Yep. Period. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. They
no
just relied on Debo. They found Jordan Mason. He could run for a hundo. It's just like,
but that's part of it. They had no CMC, who initially was reported he was going to miss a month of the season. Then he was going to play. Then they knew apparently last Friday he was not going to play. That was the best offensive non-quarterback in football last year.
But it's Shanahan, though.
Yeah.
It's a Shanahan. Shanahan gave us Orlando's Gary. Shout out to Clinton Portis. Cold as hell. Right, but Mike Bell, like
Mike
you
Anderson.
throw dudes, man, come on, these dudes, the Shanahan boys find running back. It's how Tom Thibodeau used to find like little point guards, like Mike James and them type of dudes, and get them paid. You know, like the DJ Augustines of the world. Like Shanahan's love a good running back that they can throw out there and get 150 yards.
That is their kink. A running back who you ain't heard of. Can I get a hundo with it? Oh, can I pass the century with a running back who was undrafted but spent a couple years in the military? Like that's how I move. Like, can I take a bartender and hand it to him and get 88?
You see Kyle Shanahan outside of the restaurant smoking a cigarette. Like, did you have a good meal? Nah, man. Just walking past a pickleball court, saw somebody with some big thighs. I think I can get 3 carries out of him.
I'll scheme it up.
Right.
Scheme it up. Man.
Fred Warner, though. Fred Warner. Like,
unbelievable.
Like, you talk about, like, there's certain dudes who, like, there's garage bands that start playing arenas and you remember them when. I remember the first time I saw Fred Warner, I'm like, that ain't supposed to move like that. That ain't supposed to hit like that. Like, anywhere in 54, so, it's near and dear to my heart here in Chicago. I'm like, my God, and he's still doing it. He come out and give you the best pregame interview of all time, set up the game, and then come out there and wreck your offense play after play. Like, they are an amazingly talented group. I'm just waiting for those D. Bartolo, cap casualty era 49ers to come back because they paying everybody. They got to win a Super Bowl here at some point.
Domonique, I got to ask you because this is, I know one of your kinks is off-ball linebackers, and there are, like, you go through the rosters in the NFL, and there's so many teams that have deprioritized the position, and it seems to be even worse this year than it was last year. When you look at, does that just seem like the 49ers have this massive advantage that whenever Greenlaw comes back and they've got Fred Warner, that they can sort of unlock the game because they're so solid, built middle out?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've noticed that last year was like the Ravens were an example of it. Deprioritizing that position was like in vogue for a while, but now it seemed that, and largely motivated by Shanahan style offenses, that you can find ways to isolate players and pick on them. And if you can pick on the linebackers, then you're in trouble. And it seems like the way that Kyle has built his teams. He builds his teams, and makes sense. You build your teams in order to defend your team because these are the things that you think are important. And the worst thing for a Shanahan offense, I do think, is linebackers that you can't trick, that you can't outrun, and edge rushers that when we get a lead on you are going to eat. So it feels like that's what they have prioritized, athletic linebackers that can't be liabilities in space. And if they can hit too, by all means, that's great. But I think the big value to Fred Warner is you can play action your life away. You can ISO him all you want against a back or a tight end, maybe even a slot receiver. He's going to hold up just fine. And that's the most valuable part. We'll see. That's the big question about a lot of the other teams in the NFC. The big question about the Eagles was about their linebackers and safeties, and the same thing with the Cowboys. What are we going to do with these linebackers? It seems to be one of the Achilles heels. It's probably a bad choice considering the game we're talking about. It's one of the weaknesses of a lot of the better teams in football.
Yeah, linebackers who could cover, man. I mean, right? Everybody's in shotgun all the time, right? Yeah. That's why the Bears, Tremaine Edmonds and T.J. Edwards are two of the best cover linebackers in the game. T.J. Edwards, you're not going to trick him, and if you do, he got closing speed to go get you. He had 15 tackles against the Titans. So it's one of those things where if you see it, it's like a lost art, but when you see it, you're like, it's kind of like a rapper with lyrics these days, where you're like, oh, look at that. He can rap.
They don't got lyrics no more. They just be.
They do. Yeah. It's just, I'm old. You see,
it's the right thing to do as a proper old man.
Yeah, you know the vibes.
I agree with Jason.
About the rappers with lyrics?
Yeah, they don't have lyrics anymore. Yeah. It's not the same. Not
Charlie,
like it was in
Charlie,
my day.
You could have this opinion if you came to NABJ, but if you didn't, you still, you know what I'm saying? You got to get a pass. Me and Dom got to be your walking pass. You feel me?
we got word about what was cracking at NABJ. And Charlie was like, I'm good on that.
And Charlie was right. I said, by the way, Charlie was right. Charlie was right.
That's right.
And obviously,
Okay, let's pivot to the other game from this division that's coming up on Thursday night. Bills Dolphins. They were two of the teams that actually played pretty well in week one, all things considered, where offenses struggled. We had a Josh Allen Superman performance. We saw Tyreek Hill pick up exactly where he left off with that offense, despite everything that happened to him pregame. That's our Thursday night game this week. I want to frame it this way. The Dolphins are really good at beating up on the weaklings in this league and have been historically bad at playing better teams. Is this the type of game that the Dolphins need to win, even though it's week 2? And I'm doing the stupid ESPN overreaction thing. This could be on Get Up. But is this the type of game that the Dolphins need to win for you to think that they're a serious outfit?
Well, we are not talking about the police angle of this because I had to spend all of today, the day we're recording it, Tuesday, being Ask a Black Man on all of the ESPN platforms. So surprisingly, the Domonique Foxworth Show is the one place where we are not doing that. I forgot what your question was because I was just so excited that I didn't have to talk about police.
Would you believe more in the Dolphins?
You answered. I'm a reactor. You go for it.
Yeah. I mean, listen, man. You know who the Dolphins are? The Dolphins are like the Sacramento Kings when the Lakers had their dynasty, right? Where you're like, without the Tim Donaghy situation, right? But they're like that team where you're like, man, this team sure is good. Look at Bobby Jackson. Look at Pedro Stojakovic. Look at Chris Webber. And then you get to a point where it get a little cold. And shout out to my man, Stephen Ruiz, who I work with at the Ringer. He mentioned something to me, and he said, in watching all the film that he's watched of Tua, he said he's the quarterback who you want to hold the ball the longest because the longer he holds the ball, the more chances you're going to get it. Now, if Tua can paint by the numbers and hit H.N. or hit Tyreek Hill on a slant, but if you have corners who trust a jam, and God bless you if you trust a jam against those dudes, but if you have corners who trust a jam, or if you can disguise things, show Tua something that he hadn't seen in the first few weeks of the season, then you can get away with it. And as far as the Bills are concerned, man, it's so weird because Kansas City's got this whole thing in a chokehold, and now they got the fastest man apparently in the NFL as a rookie on their team. So it just seems like everybody's running around trying to figure out how they can match up with the Chiefs. If the Bills beat the Dolphins or the Dolphins beat the Bills, I'm still trying to figure out who I'm gonna believe less in when it comes time for the AFC divisional round. Josh Allen gonna live out. Yeah,
they're playing for the right to lose to the Chiefs in the divisional round. In your view,
that's what it feels like.
It does feel that way a little bit. I think the interesting thing, there's a couple things about this. So Tua got his money. Can we stop pretending like he stinks? Like, I get that he's not. Like, I don't know. It's kind of a moot conversation at this point because in that offense, he nasty. So no quarterback is great all the time. He balls when they are in that offense, and he put up big numbers again as he does. So that's fine. I get it. And we are going to have these conversations about quarterbacks in the playoffs because they are going to get a lot of pressure, which is why I think the Josh Allen question for me, I think he's probably got himself well positioned to win the MVP this year because he's going to put up big numbers, and we're going to say that he's doing it by himself. But what I saw out of Shakir and Coleman, their two receivers, was not huge, but it was impressive and intriguing for the season to come. If it turns out that those two guys, or at least one of them, can be a number one, or those two guys together can provide a formidable replacement for what they lost in receivers last year, then I feel entirely different about this team. Because I do trust that their defensive coordinator their head coach, frankly, and defensive coordinator is going to figure out how to get the best out of that unit. We saw it last year. They had their backs against the wall last year. And they had like a 0.2 chance to make the playoffs unless they won all their games. And they went and won all but one of those games at the end of the season while being incredibly injured and changing offensive coordinators. Like this, talk about unserious outfits. This outfit is not unserious. They're battle tested and they're proven time and time again, and I expect them to be, frankly, better than the Dolphins at the end of the year. I'm not sure what that means right now, but by the end of the year, I expect them to be better than the Dolphins.
And the Dolphins are going to put the Bills on the hot sideline where they get sun for the first half of that game, and they're going to melt. So you don't put any faith in the fact that this is just like sort of a bar that the Dolphins have to clear to start beating teams that don't suck.
I mean, the Dolphins have beaten some. They beat the Bills. Like, they've beaten some teams. They didn't get swept by the Bills. Like, I don't know. It's sometimes
they hit tough pitching, right?
Yeah.
And they hit. Can you beat the ones and twos in the playoffs instead of the back end of the rotation? Is what everybody waiting to find out about these Dolphins. And on top of it, like, there's a lot of bums to feast on in the NFL. So we really don't find out who's who until we get to about week 12 or week 11, right? Where we're like, okay, this team is formidable enough. Like, you look at what the Ravens did in Kansas City that first week. I don't think the Ravens are any less of a team because of the way they lost, right? I think the Ravens going to be right back where they're supposed to be. Although I would love for somebody to start treating. Why? What's up? Did I step on something?
No, you didn't step on anything. Charlie, go ahead, Charlie.
I'm smiling because me and Domonique were talking about what this is super hot take from the two of us. After a week of football, it just seems so obvious that the best teams are still the Ravens, the Chiefs, and the 49ers.
Without question.
It pulls the veil back so on all of the baloney talk that we do off season. That's what I call it. And I appreciate that the people who like this show like us enough to listen to the baloney talk, because we be baloney talking our off in the off season because, like, we know who good. We know who's going to be good. And
you know what football can't do?
What?
Football can't afford to. That's all it is. That's all it is. Any given Sunday, and nope, not this Sunday for at least 20 of y'all. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. I just can't wait till somebody start treating Lamar Jackson like they did in Louisville and let him spread that thing out and sling it. Like, Lamar's still running single wing offense like Greg Roman's still there. It's weird as hell to watch. Like, how many tight ends and fullbacks do you need on a roster? Like I understand,
and they stopped doing it for stretches last year. But
no, Dom, I hate it, dog.
it.
I hate it. They treat this dude as if they still got to be a caretaker. This man won the Heisman slinging the pill, empty sets, 4 wideouts. Like, if you can't address the wide receiver issues that you have, find somebody who can. You know, I love Rashad Bateman as much as the next guy. But hey, Rashad Bateman is a really, really good number 3 when we're talking about some of these. You got Waddle and Hill on the same team. You got the Bears wide receiver room. They keep treating Lamar Jackson like he out here like it's old school days where it's like, these black quarterbacks. You got to make sure you got an Algie Crumpler in front of him, and you got to make sure to keep the ball in the middle of the field. Let him sling that. Like, let's get back to seeing what he really is. Louisville, you drafted him because of what he did in Louisville. Like, what are we doing here?
But in defense of the Ravens, the biggest complaint that we had of them last year, the playoffs, was they didn't run the ball enough. Like,
well, he didn't run the ball though, Dom.
Yeah,
he did. Right? Like,
they did.
He didn't take off.
And that playoff game was they didn't run the ball enough. That's why they were like, we went and got Henry, because we can't forget to run the ball when this monster's breathing down the back of our neck. Like, hey, give me the ball. I don't know. I mean, the fairest criticism of Lamar is he's inaccurate. And that's like, it's a fair criticism. It's something that I was slow to accept because it felt like it was always colored by something. However, I appreciate you. However, I will maybe I should put my fist down for what I'm about to say. Not at all. For what I'm about to say. I'm going to keep it up. But
do I put my fist up for this? What do I do for this?
The optics might be weird. Yeah, don't do it to yourself.
We are at a point in the progress of racist NFL front offices that their racism has gotten out of the way of selecting quarterbacks. So I'm at a point now where there are enough black quarterbacks that I don't have to pretend like the ones that are in the league don't have issues. So I fully acknowledge, and it was slow for me to get over it. It took a while, even early in my career, like before I was on TV. Oh, full blown. Yeah, everybody. Oh, yeah. He the best. Oh, y'all don't know what you're looking at. He the best. Everybody. I was convinced that all we needed for RG3 was a quality system. We just need a quality system. Y'all keep putting my man in a bad system. But now,
hey, you know that Deshaun Kaiser cold as hell now. Y'all ain't really up on what I'm up on.
I don't gotta pretend no more. I'm free. Damn it. We got Mahomes. We got Love. We got Stroud. It's just out here. People out here eating. I ain't gotta lie.
Domonique, the brother that moved to the suburbs and started calling the police every chance he get.
Hey, ain't no reason you standing out by my mailbox. Just what y'all talking about.
We done moved to the quarterback suburbs. We gotta, come get this Jamarcus Russell off my lawn.
I don't know. It's 9:30. I don't know what y'all still doing out there.
Don't they have a curfew?
Yeah, but I'm serious. They are like, come on. I don't gotta pretend that Bryce Young is lacks protection. It's true, but Bryce Young also has some challenges.
They're gonna fit that name to a Canes polo soon, boy. He gonna be slinging chicken soon, boy.
I ain't never been able to say this out in public. It feels good. It feels good to be honest. Lamar Jackson is inaccurate. You ain't gotta lie. He's inaccurate sometimes. It's fine. But what he brings to the team is worth the inaccuracy. So I remember prepping for the draft and watching Lamar, and I was like, damn, he a pocket passer. Why they acting like he not a pocket passer? And I was like, oh, Aaron throw. Okay, that's all right. That ain't bad. When I had to come up off it and start focus on some other things, I watched that bowl game, his last bowl game, and that man couldn't hit nobody with that thing. And I was like, all right, you great. I still think you're the best quarterback in this draft. But Drew Brees, you are not, and that's okay. Right. That's okay. Right. Hey, Charlie, that felt good. Thank you for standing by. It just felt good to finally
that speaks to progress, though.
Yeah. Congratulations. Congratulations
with the rest of the world.
Congratulations, white people. You have put your racism aside enough. It's very much Bear Bryant style progress. It's like, damn, there's too many good black quarterbacks out here for me to continue to try to field an all-white team. I appreciate it. Put it aside enough. We even now have Josh Allen, which I mean, Josh Allen is the picture of what we thought the black quarterback could have been back in the day, and y'all wouldn't let it happen. I'm sorry, and I haven't even allowed my man Charlie to get on to his Anthony Richardson hype. Like, I don't even love Anthony Richardson like Charlie loved Anthony Richardson.
Well, you know, I mean, you know what that is, though. Like, half the league, was it 15 out of 32? I saw that big graphic. 15 out of 32 quarterbacks are black. So we can take the stop racism hashtags out of the end zone now. Like, what are we doing?
God.
I know why you like Anthony Richardson, because white guys love cool black guys. Like, the cool white guys love cool black guys. And I'm sorry, Anthony Richardson got the world band down on him, and he on his back foot, and he just sling that thing 67 yards. And of course, if you grew up in the Madden / Tecmo Bowl era, ain't nothing they love better than playing with Michael Vick.
This is what. So I was. Whenever I go,
we had this conversation.
We had it. Whenever I go on my rant about how these white general managers are racist, Charlie points out, and this is his theory. Go ahead, Charlie.
I was 12 years old when Michael Vick was on the cover of Madden. I am from the DMV area. Every single kid my age, no matter where they're from or what their race was, but particularly if you're from this area where Michael Vick is your favorite quarterback of all time and you want every single quarterback to be complete chaos and play the way he does. And so you just grow up from everyone. I'm 34 years old now. Everyone in this age is like, yeah, of course I want a running quarterback. Of course, like, the black quarterbacks are the coolest quarterbacks in the NFL, period, full stop.
Yeah.
It all started with that game.
And if Charlie would have grown up in Philadelphia, he would have been one of them white boys with cornrows courtside when Allen Iverson was playing. That's all it is. You just go to different pockets of the country where it's like, oh, look, it's the cool black dude. And I know my dad don't like him, bet.
I never realized.
Let's get it.
I never considered this before, but I mean, it's obvious. It's like you kind of are imprinted by that point in your life. Like, my kids still make fun of me because sometimes my shorts get a little low and my kids roast me like, pull your pants up, Dad. It's the opposite of what my parents would say to me. But there is some imprinting that takes place, which is why everybody for a stretch was looking for the next, I don't know, Joe Montana, the next Peyton Manning, the next whatever. But then Michael Vick was the one. He was the one. Mm-hmm. I know this is old news,
Randall Cunningham running around in the early 90s winning co-MVPs. Nobody said a word. Nobody said a word. And Randall was
I love Randall. And now his daughter out here in the Olympics.
Yeah. Shout out to the Jeans.
A monster.
Yeah,
I had a lot of Allen Iverson gear also.
Yeah, I was about to say. I think you're mistaken if you think that Charlie did not ask his parents one time.
A lot.
Just walking around wearing a shooting sleeve at the kids' table.
The finger sleeve. With the three? Oh, Jello Freck basketball with the finger sleeve is.
Hey, the sister smell it on him. I'll tell you, every time I come on this show and I share a story on IG, the sisters can smell on Charlie that he is down with the program. Okay? And shout out to all you other cool young white cats out there. Y'all know what it is. Y'all know the
vibe. Man.
Jason, before we let you go, we have to get to some Caleb.
Man.
No. I was saying we got to pivot to some Bears stuff.
He's about to burden me with the Bears game. That's all.
No, not at all. The Bears put the best situation we've ever seen around a number one overall pick. And it showed in week one because Caleb did not have the debut we thought for the most pro-ready quarterback we've seen in a decade since Andrew Luck or Trevor Lawrence or however long. Mm-hmm. But they came back from 17-0 and their defense looked phenomenal and they are a really good team. But I think we all agree Caleb's going to be good. He's going to have a little learning curve depending on how steep or not steep or gradual his learning curve is. But did watching a game like that, did that sort of change your expectations for him this season?
No. No, and shout out to Kurt Warner. He had a marvelous breakdown here on a local radio station of like the nuances and the things that you don't see on the all 22 film that quarterbacks and NFL players can just pick up on just like that. The things that he didn't do, some of the throws that he didn't make that were, Will Levis like. Listen, man. There's something about that Bears wishbone C. You put that helmet on, it's akin to what Cubs hats used to do to managers. Okay, Cubs hats. You throw a Cubs hat on Dusty Baker, you threw a Cubs hat on Lou Piniella. All of a sudden, things get a little haywire. You throw that wishbone C on a quarterback that you respect or a quarterback that you have high expectations of. You just gotta wait till they break through that sound barrier of Bears quarterback. And he didn't look good. But this is the other thing too. And guess what, y'all? Justin Fields went through it as well. His offensive lineman spent the entire afternoon getting sonic rings knocked out of their I saw Coleman Shelton on his back more than I have ever seen a center in my life. And then Nate Davis, who was Ryan Poles' first free agent acquisition, in the trenches, Ryan Poles' offensive line guy. He goes and signs Nate Davis. Last 2 years, we don't know if Nate want to practice. Some games Nate don't play. Nate got benched in the first week of the NFL season against his former team. So you know how serious that got to be, right? They throw in Ryan Bates, who they picked up this year. He immediately gets destroyed at the line of scrimmage by number 53, who's still probably showing that to his kids 3 days later. Like, I don't care what you do. Football is a simple game. Blocking, tackling. You can't block it. You can't run it, period. And there were too many times when Caleb Williams up the gut pressure is the best pressure. Domonique, he's played with some defensive lines, and if you get up the gut pressure, I don't care how mobile you are. So Caleb really never got into a rhythm. Don't think that Shane Waldron really got into a rhythm. And when he did, Keenan Allen got targeted 11 times in that game. He caught 4 of them. He dropped an out pass that was a surefire touchdown. But we got in the flux capacitor, man. We took it back to the future. This was 04 all over again. Last time I saw a game like that, the last number 18 was Kyle Orton. And the last time I saw a defense
legend,
like this, neckbeard king. All right. and the last time I saw a defense like this was 04-05, where, the Denny Green game, the Bears who are we thought they were. This is the same kind of vibes with this defense. Jalen Johnson's amazing. Tyreek Stevenson's cold. They got a pair of the best coverage linebackers that I've seen in a while. And Montez Sweat got double dog game and allowed Darrell Taylor to come off the edge. So, yeah, man, Caleb's going to have better games. And now going up against Houston Sunday night, like that nervous thing, the hard knocks, I've never been nervous. Lies, all lies. Yeah. That first throw, the cover 2 beater, he hits that in practice, and he sailed it. So hopefully the nerves come down. You can scheme some things up for this offensive line, but I'm not worried about him. I don't think anybody in Chicago is either.
Yeah, I think I'm looking forward to seeing how they address the fact that the interior of their offensive line has issues. And I mean, sprint outs, play action, boots, like things get them on the move to set them up. The interesting thing is you can't really chip. Like you don't really chip to help out there. That's not something that you do. So maybe you'll slide the line and do other things to give Caleb a chance. I think there's plenty of fair criticism of Caleb Williams, but it's too early. Let's not get carried away. It's too early to say that Caleb Williams, that our expectations for him should change. I will say that one thing that I thought I saw in the preseason that seems to not be true now is I thought that he had NFL athleticism. Like I saw him in the preseason wiggling out and running down. I was like, okay, it's not Baker Mayfield. It is a guy whose athleticism will translate to this level. Ain't look like that against that Titans defense. It didn't look like that. Maybe, again, it's 1 week, but that's a thing. And if you don't have that ability anymore, that's fine. Pack it up. Throw that in the trash. Like, you're going to have to get rid of it sooner or later. And you're going to either learn the easy way or the hard way that you can't do it. So he got a couple more weeks to try to Patrick Mahomes it out there. And if he can't do it, then you have to put that in the trash and figure out another way to be effective. Defense looks great, though. That's fine.
No, the defense is crazy, but, we've been used to that my entire life, man. It's the only team where the middle linebackers and the running backs have been the stars and the faces of the team for the entire franchise.
I love it. Time machine over there. I do.
That's it.
At least he wasn't. Will Levis, who was doing he was ravishing Rick Rudin on his knees.
the surrender cobra on the field.
Yeah.
Nah, he did his best, Uncle Rico.
I know you call it the surrender cobra now, but I call it the ravishing Rick Rude. Again, hello ladies. Look it up, Charlie. Learn something.
Yeah.
Take you back
when we could be overtly sexual on television.
when WWF stood for World Wrestling Federation, not for what is World Wildlife Fund or something like that.
I think
Foundation.
So. I think so.
Yeah. Dominique, I gotta ask though. This is again, I'm completely with both of you that Caleb is like totally fine. He's gonna be awesome, but doesn't that sort of, if you don't think he has that athleticism that functions the same way, doesn't that sort of change the package that you were sold? Because part of it was the Mahomes ability to extend plays.
I think it does change it if he doesn't have it. I'm not willing to say after one game that he doesn't have it. I think that it looked less impressive in this game than it looked in the preseason, and obviously than it looked in college. The most impressive thing about him was his ability to hit incredibly accurate deep throws while scrambling out of the pocket. That was the thing. And even that I don't think that ability goes away. So is he going to get sacked sometimes doing it? Fine. If you have a low floor, you got to also reward us with the high ceiling. I think that's the problem, is that he didn't reward us with the high ceiling this week, which is forgivable. Maybe this defense, and I'm hoping this defense is great because my man Day is coordinating it. And I would like him to have success. He did a great job. First debut. Yeah. Congratulations, Denard Wilson. He's from the DMV.
Yeah, shout out to him. Shout out to him.
Legend.
And ain't no Jeffrey Simmons running around the Pac-12.
Yeah.
He might be one of the best players nobody talks about in the league.
Yeah, he is. And every team doesn't have a Jeffrey Simmons, so we'll see. I think it's early yet, but it's fair to say that all of the rookie quarterbacks have disappointed, including Tom Brady, who's a rookie announcer. Not great. Not great, man.
Yeah, everybody's trying to. I heard people talking about it, and it kind of felt like the review of like the Compton album, where it's like, oh, I can't wait for it, and then you're like, did you go back and listen to it though? You know what I mean? Like, it's got some bangers, but then you go,
The thing I was struck by was how much the visual helps Tom Brady. I've never realized his voice before. But when you're 6'5" and handsome and got 7 Super Bowl rings, and I'm looking at all that while you're talking, that shit sound deep.
Yeah.
And then, when you don't, I'm not looking at it. It don't hit the same. So he gonna have to find. And when you are clearly lacking confidence, which is reasonable. It's reasonable to lack confidence on your first day. Like, we hear it all. He'll get better. A
lot of quarterbacks caught some shots this weekend. Drew Bledsoe couldn't wait to put that name on that bullet for Tony Romo. Like,
what did Tony do to Drew? What did Tony do to Drew?
Apparently a lot that he has been saving up. Drew never struck me as a dude who had these kind of thoughts. Right? You just knew that he got his life removed from Mo Lewis, and then he just walked off into the sunset. But with the roast and then the little ESPN interview that he did with Alex Smith,
he got a podcast? What he doing? Why he letting this? Listen, you better stop giving that fire away.
Yeah, I'd love to
better put that behind a paywall, Drew.
Patreon Drew. You know what I mean? Let's get it.
Oh, gosh. Charlie, you want to talk about more football, or you want to leave?
I think we're good. Oh, I got to ask one last thing.
We waiting for you to put that jacket back on. That's what we're trying to do.
We're
not going to end the show
with the green machine back on.
Hold on. Let me see the interior. Ooh.
Oh yeah, it's a little tan lining, baby. A little tan lining. Yeah.
It's pretty nice. I'm not gonna lie. Without the jacket, you did look like you were about to pass me a mini crab cake at a wedding cocktail hour.
See, this is your man, by the way. Like, I can't do this because I want to come back on the show, but this is your man.
Stop pretending like you ain't already emptied a clip. If you had another one, you would have shot it. Don't act like
don't worry.
Benevolent.
I have some culturally significant jokes that I will be sending to your phone. Okay?
These are not for the YouTube audience. These are okay. These are just for me.
These are equipped with pictures, and I got everything saved. Like I had to pull over to the side of the road. I got you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You look good. You look good, brother.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that was fun. Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
this was the best. Let's
Charlie,
do this more often.
Always good to see you.
You're the best, Jason.
You already know, man. I feel like I'm part of the family, right?
You are. You are part of the family.
Hall of Famer.
Yeah. I'm talking about the Foxworth family. I feel like I'm the fourth kid. You know what I mean? Ashley be commenting on my Instagrams. Yeah, man, we good. Like,
you are part of the family.
I actually sent her some breaking news that nobody else in the country knows. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oh, exciting. Oh, okay. All right. I see you. Yeah, I won't finish that. I already know what this breaking news is. I'm going to let you slide for saying you one of the fourth kids, but because based on my significant hairline analysis, you ain't my kid. We hanging in there, baby. We holding on tight. And we don't have any more time for a response. Thank you so much, Jason Goff. Thank you, Charlie Kravitz. Thanks to all the great producers. Thank everybody for listening, watching, rating, reviewing. And we is out.
This is the Domonique Foxworth Show.